Hi. Today we're going to be looking at some of the most popular works from the filmographies of some of the most canceled auteurs. Auteur is a little bit of a stretch for at least one of these gentlemen. Just in case the aesthetic of the tier list is attracting a different audience than I normally get on my videos, I feel I should make a disclaimer. This channel is for the girls and the gays. Others are welcome until they are not. So don't even bother defending any of these guys in the comments. Your comment will be deleted expeditiously. I won't even fight with you for sport, even though I want to. Gotta open up my gamer tab. We will be looking at 3 filmmakers: Woody Allen, Bryan Singer, and Roman Polanski. Now, even though all 3 of these men are widely canceled to people who are normal, they keep letting all of them make movies, and none of them are in jail. Let's briefly define our tiers. The S tier is going to be for films that I think are in fact worth watching, even if that means that you need to add to their streaming numbers. Either because they're so good that they're worth watching, I don't know if there are any on this list, or because it's sort of too late. There's nothing you can do to take away the reputation of this movie. Your watch on the streaming numbers is gonna be irrelevant, and it's worth watching the movie. Tier A is going to be things that are similar. I think they are worth watching, but it is not worth contributing to their streaming data or giving them any money. So that tier is reserved for things that you can get from your local library or rent from a local video store if you happen to have one near you. If you're in Los Angeles like me, I can personally vouch for Cinephile on the west side and Vidiot's on the east side. So B tier, for 1 or 2 reasons or for a very specific group of people, I think this movie is still worth watching if you can get it from your local library or a local video store, but I wouldn't recommend it for everybody, and you really probably don't even need to worry about it. C tier, you don't need to watch this movie. F tier, straight to jail. These are movies that, in my opinion, the world would be a better place if they had never been made. There's a lot of those on this list. We're gonna start it off with Woody Allen. It's an easy place to start. Let's start with Midnight in Paris. So I think to a younger generation, Midnight in Paris might be one of the more widely known or popular Woody Allen movies, which is kind of wild. I remember being charmed by it. The costumes were very beautiful. The cast was really excellent. Nina Arianta is in it. But I think in this day and age, this is not an important film to watch. So she goes to C tier. Bye, girl. The next one is Annie Hall, and I'm very conflicted. It's in the permanent canon of great films of all time. Diane Keaton is absolutely perfect in this film. This film is also what people are talking about when they say Woody Allen style. They just mean Annie Hall. So I am, with very strong reservation, going to put it in the S tier. But I might move it back down to the A tier. We will see. I hate this. You're gonna see Hannah and her sisters on a lot of lists. I know that I've seen this movie. I saw it when I was probably like 17 or 18. I do not remember it at all. I vaguely remember liking it, kind of. The fact that I don't remember this movie at all, I'm putting it in C tier. The next Woody Allen picture we're going to look at is Manhattan. Now, there's a very specific situation in which I think it is worth watching Manhattan. If you have any doubts at all about whether or not Woody Allen is a creep who deserves to be under the jail, I would read up on all of his allegations and then watch Manhattan. So we're gonna put this in the B tier. The final Woody Allen film that I'm going to talk about is one that is really, really rough for me to talk about, and that's Blue Jasmine. Cate Blanchett. It is one of her greatest performances of all time. I mean, obviously she got an Oscar for it. If you are a Cate Blanchett fan, with extremely strong reservation, I'm gonna put this one in A tier. She's transcendent. I'm looking at this and I feel like I've been a little too kind to Woody Allen, and I am going to move Annie Hall down to A tier. Ooh, but I don't like there are 2 films in A tier. Well, that's okay, because we're gonna fix it all and look at Bryan Singer. Now, Bryan Singer, calling him an auteur feels like a big stretch. He does not write his films. He's just a director, and I don't know, idiot piece of shit in my opinion. Bryan Singer is most famous for resurrecting the superhero genre. Now, in my humble opinion, the resurrection of the superhero genre is the single worst thing to happen to cinema in the last 50 years, with the exception of any sexual assaults that were perpetrated by the men on this list, including Bryan Singer. He's made so many. The first one I think was Superman Returns. Straight to jail. It made the world a worse place. Fight me, I don't give a shit. Next is X-Men. Made the world a worse place. X2, same thing. And last but not least, Days of Future Past. I know I've seen some of the X-Men movies. I could not tell you which ones. I could not tell you a single thing that happens in any of those movies. The one thing I will say for Days of Future Past is it has an absolutely, stunningly, extraordinarily stupid title. And that's funny. Days of Future Past. What the f does that mean, Bryan? That's so stupid. But I did one time do movie-themed pub trivia, and I came up with the team name Days of Future Pabst. And it's a very bad pun, but I'm not good at puns. So I'm really proud of it, and I think about it all the time. And for that reason, no, I'd still go straight to jail.
Who is this for? Not like who's gonna like it or who's gonna click on it or who's gonna watch it, but like, who is this for? What am I trying to do? You know, we live in a society, where money is power. And these men have so much power because they've made things that have made them so wealthy, so permanently wealthy, so ceaselessly, unchangeably wealthy, that nothing can hurt them. They've made themselves gods. They are untouchable. They've all done things that are just beyond. And there's nothing we can do about it, and they won't be punished, and they're all probably gonna die before anything changes.
So the other Bryan Singer film that comes up a lot is obviously Usual Suspects. Now, I haven't seen Usual Suspects because I don't care about it. There's too many boys on the poster. No, but I do in theory want to watch it, and I probably will at some point. For reasons of not being a hypocrite, I will probably put it in B tier. I was curious because that's kind of his like big breakout movie, and it's so fondly remembered, and I was like, how the f did he get that gig? First sentence about it on Wikipedia is, well, he met Kevin Spacey at a party. So I'll give it to the creeps. They have a way of finding each other. So we're gonna put her in B tier just so that if I ever watch it, I won't feel like I'm drowning in my own hypocrisy. Moving on, this is a man with whom I have a deeply complicated relationship, and that is Roman Polanski. Roman Polanski is a piece of shit, objectively, but he did also make two of my favorite films of all time, and that's something that I have to wrestle with every day. Starting with a super light, fun family favorite, The Pianist. I guess if you are like some kind of Holocaust movie completionist, which like, why? I need to check your hard drive. There are so many other profound, deeply moving movies about the Holocaust, movies about genocide, movies about, that sounds so bleak to talk about it that way, movies that touch on those themes or are set in that time period and that world that were not made by creepy. So for that reason, I am going to put The Pianist in C tier. It doesn't need to go straight to jail, but he should. The next one is Chinatown. I'm gonna put Chinatown in C tier because I think you can get everything about Chinatown that's good in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That's my opinion. Now, these final three are where it gets really personal. We're gonna start with Venus in Fur. I have a bit of a personal connection to this because I did this play back when like every single regional theater in the country was doing Venus in Fur. I was one of them. I cannot believe that David Ives let Roman Polanski get his grubby little hands on this movie. He completely misunderstood it. He did not understand the power dynamics at all. He did not understand the gender stuff at all. He's just a and he likes to make fancy movies about being a and listen, I'm a but it's different, okay? I'm a in a fun, hot, cool way. He's a in a problematic, dangerous, violent way. If you want to experience this, you have two great ways of doing that. One is legal, one is sorta not, but it's fine. You can get the play. You can get it at your library. You can get it online from, I don't know who publishes it, probably Samuel French. Or you can just look for a little slime tutorial of Nina Arianda and Hugh Dancy doing it on Broadway. That movie goes straight to jail. Okay, here's where it gets really hard. Rosemary's Baby is unfortunately one of the greatest films of all time. If I weren't so deeply conflicted about this piece of man who ruined my life by ruining his own life by being the worst person ever and making it so that I can't enjoy any of his movies, which are really good, but now they're not because he sucks. Rosemary's Baby would absolutely be in my top 10. Mia Farrow is very good in it. John Cassavetes is in it too. Yeah, Annie Hall didn't deserve to be in S tier if this is what's in S tier. If you only ever watch Roman Polanski one time, it should be this movie. And while you should try to avoid contributing to its streaming data, the goose is cooked, like it's already what it is.
Maybe if I just retreat further underneath the table. It really wasn't even my plan to make this into some sort of meta commentary video. I really was just gonna do the cancellation list and leave it at that. But what the fuck is that for? I fear that this is going to be a deeply unresolved video. I work in this industry and it's so hierarchical. Even making things like this, I thought so carefully. I was like, well, I have to make sure that I only pick people who are like conclusively canceled, where everybody agrees it's okay to make jokes about it, but everyone also agrees that they're still allowed to get Oscar nominations. Even the act of selecting these guys, I was playing the politics game. And I hate it. I hate that game. I don't believe in it. I don't want to please those people. I don't want to work with those people. But I might have to. Because sometimes when you get to work with one person, that means you have to work with someone else. And I know that I won't be perfect, and I know as I become more visible, which is, you know, the goal of something like a YouTube channel, is I will also become more critiqued. And I am afraid of that. Because I know for people who care about it, it sticks harder. And for people who, oh, I don't care, I'm above it, none of that shit matters to me, I don't give a shit what people think about me, tend to be the people who are cruel, or selfish, or unkind, and they get to be so free. So it is envy. I want their freedom. I want that seemingly bulletproof vest that they all have, where everything just bounces and slides right off of them. The controversy just kind of makes them edgy. Because I'm on the left, if I have a controversy, I just know I'll get eaten up. And it hurts, and it's scary when it's people that you want to be in community with. And I also know that the right weaponizes that tendency on the left. So am I gonna accomplish anything with this video? I don't know. I don't know how to prevent people like J.K. Rowling, people like Louis C.K. from flourishing, from being the villains of the internet for 6 months, and then selling out arenas or getting a brand new HBO show. It seems impossible to contend with. Am I ultimately attempting to be carceral? Am I ultimately furthering a punishment-based model, a punitive model for society, when that's not what I believe in? I believe in reform. But realistically, how can these men be reformed? I can't do it. How do you change someone's heart or mind when they are so cruel and selfish? When anything you say will just put them on a defensive where they have to prove to you that they're still a good person actually, and you're stupid, or you're the bad person, or you're cruel, or you're misunderstanding. What would it look like to live in a world where these men could become different? I do think it starts with less tolerance for this kind of behavior. But the next step can't just be punishment. And I don't think that that is my goal here. I don't think my goal is, don't watch these movies in order to punish these bad men, in order to let them know that you think they're bad and get them in trouble and cancel them. I think that these three men are all very good case examples of how cancellation isn't real and doesn't work. They're still making movies, they're still making money, they still have fans, and I'm gonna make this fucking video and it's gonna be a drop in the fucking bucket. People who agree with me will continue to agree with me, and people who don't will have a fucking fit in the comments before they even get to this part. When I talk about these kinds of things, I wrestle so deeply with these concepts of carceral society and cancel culture and with death of the author. Because I don't think either one is effective. But I also know that what we're doing right now isn't effective either. I will never reach the people that I want to reach. Because even as it is, I speak so carefully, and I couch all my opinions in clauses and warnings, and people will still find something to complain about and say how I did it wrong and I didn't consider their personal fucking bean soup. That even people who ultimately more or less agree with me, I won't change their minds. Maybe a little, incrementally, tiny little bits.
Last but not least, my deepest beef with any piece of cinema ever made is with this film. It was one of my favorite films of all time until I found out about his allegations. I remember watching this movie and thinking, how does this guy get it? And then I had the horrifying realization that this is an extraordinary film about rape made by a rapist. And that makes me unable to watch it simply, but I still watch it and I still think about it. I consume it almost like I think some people consume true crime, trying to figure it out, trying to figure this man out, trying to figure out his point of view, trying to figure out how to keep myself safe, and also feeling a lot of rage. The film I'm talking about, of course, is Repulsion. It's perfect. Catherine Deneuve is perfect. It is a very painful watch, knowing what we now know. And there's just no way around that. So I am with endless trigger warnings, endless caveats, deep reservations, and a great deal of guilt, going to put Repulsion in the B tier. Not everyone should watch this movie. If you can get past all the stuff, not even get past all the stuff, if you can be aware of all the stuff and keep it in mind and still have a safe experience watching the movie, you should watch it.
Someday, I'm sure I'll find it in myself to just make a straightforward video essay. But today I had to give my weird little conscience a voice from under the table. This is very uncomfortable. My shoulders hurt very badly. So I guess I'm gonna have to wrap this up. I also do not have a script for this part at all. No notes. So my husband just read some Faulkner, right? Faulkner was raised in the South and was critical of the South. And he was saying, I don't know, I mean, this book just feels really racist. And we did a quick Google and we we're like, I don't know, I mean, it seems like he's pretty critical of the South. But no, he is racist. He's just racist. He's just a racist piece of shit who wrote some books that people love very much that aren't meaningfully critical of the South, but ultimately still racist. But we live in this world right now where everyone is basically making propaganda. The way that I will double check that something is safe to watch, you know? I don't want to think I'm watching one thing and then have it turn out to be something else. I don't know what to do with that feeling. That feels so sheltered, so risk averse and anti-intellectual. But at a time when warfare is fought online through propaganda, I also think it's valid. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, Woody Allen is a Russian asset, but that would be a funny rumor. You could start it. But what I am saying, I don't like that the worst possible people have so much permission and feel so much freedom to make their evil, creepy, abusive, bad politics, neurotic garbage. And the smartest, kindest, most interesting people are sitting at home and not sharing their work with anybody because they're afraid of being met with the fate that those people deserve. So I don't know, man, I guess make stuff. If you're not a bad person, for the most part, make stuff. We might not be able to remove them, but maybe we can dilute them. Watch whatever you want. Watch whatever you want, but make more than you watch. Yeah. Watch whatever you want. Get a lot of context. And then make more than you watch. That's my plea from under the table. Ow! Goddamn.
Oh my God. The next couple of weeks are gonna be a little weird. I'm working really hard on some very exciting projects, but I'm not 100% sure I'm gonna have something ready in time for next week. But it would mean so much to me in the meantime if you could like and comment, and it helps me so much. Thank you, I love you, bye!